When I saw the preview for Tyler Perry's new film, Mea Culpa, I knew I had to add it to the rotation. The preview immediately gave Temptation vibes, and it was only because I love Kelly and Travonte's fine ass that I decided to check this one out. So usually, I break my recaps down scene by scene and I include scenes from the movie and I give my final thoughts. But since this is a newer film, I like to do this differently and simply talk about the film and add my final thoughts at the end. So with that being said, this movie is a hot mess and it's time to talk about it. So let's get into it. So the movie starts off with us meeting our main character, Mea, a successful defense attorney, and her husband, Cal. They meet with their marriage counselor, and it's safe to say that things are not going well in their marriage. First issue, Cal's emotional affair with a childhood friend. As we've learned from other films, it's always the childhood friend you gotta watch out for. And issue number 2 was Cal's devotion to his mother and brother. It's very clear that for Cal, Mea does not come first. And this is proven true when in mid-session, Cal receives a call from his mom and leaves, leaving her to finish their session with the counselor alone. It's also here where we learn that Cal's mother has cancer. He's lost his job 6 months ago and doesn't want his mother or brother to know. So not only does Mea come last, even after this emotional affair, she has to keep his little secrets too. So we fast forward to Cal's mother's, Azalea's 60th birthday party. Before Mea makes it to the table, an associate, Maddie, tells her he would like to introduce her to a potential client and she agrees to see them as long as he sends his strongest drink. She's gonna need something to help her deal with that monster-in-law of hers. For the minute Azalea saw Mea, she turned up the Karen meter. She tells Cal that maybe his second wife, that she hopes will be the childhood friend he was getting a little too close to, will find a way to be on time. This bad wig makes an appearance. I mean, there had to be at least one. It's only right. And that childhood friend that Cal was getting a little too close to was at this same party. They even sat next to each other at Azalea's request, and Mea just went along with it. Child, in what world? There's no way this would happen in real life. Anyway, Cal bought this expensive gift for his mama, and let me remind you, he hasn't worked in 6 months, and he didn't tell Mea he was buying her this gift with her money. Sitting next to Mea was her sister-in-law, Charlize, who's married to Cal's brother, Ray. And while they were down on their end of the table having their side convo, Miss Azalea got mad and interrupted them when all eyes and attention weren't on her. See, this is too much already. I would have never came to this dinner. My ass would have been at home chilling. But as everyone is leaving the party and getting their cars, Charlize mentions that Zier, a popular painter, is inside the restaurant. And just the mention of his name bothers Ray. And it's here that you see that Charlize is slightly uncomfortable when Ray mentions that she bought 2 of Zier's paintings. The energy was giving Keyshawn and Derek vibes, for sure. But as Mea and Cal are driving home, Cal apologizes for buying the watch and tells Mea that he sold their piano in order to buy it, without telling or asking her, which is crazy. He insists that since she didn't play it anymore, that she shouldn't care about him selling it. And Cal starts going into how his mother has done so much for him, and now she's dying and he wants to be able to give her more, I guess. But the next day, we see Mea getting to her office, and Zier, the painter who's accused of murder, is there waiting for her with his fine ass. He tells Mea how the police have raided his home twice, damaging 2 commission works in the process. He also tells her that he did not kill his girlfriend and insists that the DA hates him, though he doesn't say why he feels that way, which is ironic, but we'll get to that. Mea tells him that she doesn't take clients based on headlines or what's popular, and plus there is a conflict since her brother-in-law, Ray, is the DA on the case, but Zier didn't care about any of that and basically tells Mea to name her price and it's good as paid. So Mea tells him she'll look into what the prosecution has and she'll get back with him later. And tell me why his slick ass tries to get her to put her number in his phone, but she quickly directed him to her secretary and told him to leave his number there. We fast forward to Mea and Charlize leaving the gym, and as they're leaving out, they see a few protesters outside of a local gallery. They are demanding that the gallery take down Zier's art, but the owner could give two shits. Mea brings up Zier coming to see her and wanting her to represent him and says she's thinking about it. And Charlize brings up how Ray is living for all the Zier slander. I wonder why. Anyway, later that night, while Mea is looking over Zier's files, Cal comes over to her and learns that she's thinking about representing him. He demands that she not take the case, telling her that she can't go against his brother. This fierce loyalty is suspicious as hell to me at this point, because like, you not even this loyal to your damn wife, but you want her to be loyal to the same people that can't stand her. Child, please. But Mea swiftly pulled out every last bill and basically told him to pick one to pay before he assumes he can tell her what to do. We learn here that his mother doesn't have health insurance and Mea has been footing the bill. She has 2 sons. Why does Mea have to do anything? I really want to know. We also learned that Cal lost his job as an anesthesiologist due to him coming to work high and drunk, and he refuses to tell his mother and brother. Personally, with all this disrespect going on, baby, I would have told it all. Cause why not? So after this argument, Mea makes the decision to meet with Zier, and their first meeting is at his home. Reminder, this man is a suspected murderer, and you are meeting with him in his home, alone. Girl. But she comes in to find him painting, and he asks her to tell him what she feels when looking at it, and she tells him longing. He encourages her to look around for a little before Mea decides to get down to business. So Mea tells him that what the prosecution has looks really bad. At this point, Mea is all about business, so she tells him to tell her everything he knows. So Zier starts with how he met Heidi. They met in Italy at a restaurant. He was there for 10 days. They fell in love after that, and they were inseparable for 6 months, but one random day after coming back from an exhibit, she was gone. Mea asks if he saw photos of the crime scene, and she mentions how there was so much blood that it seeped down to the neighbor's place. They even found skull fragments in one of his paintings. She starts drilling him with questions, which irritated him. She also showed him a video that his ex recorded where she stated that he was going to kill her. We assume that he is Zier. And Zier claims the video is not real and questions why she would record it. He seems clueless as to why these things are happening. And there was also a $3 million life insurance policy that was taken out on her that he claims he doesn't know of as well. Even with all of this against him, Mea leans towards taking him on as a client. When Mea makes it home later that night, her mother and brother-in-law were there. Baby, I would have walked clean back out and got a room somewhere. Not today. And Isaiah had even cooked dinner for them. And honestly, I wouldn't eat the food with somebody who I know hates me. I don't care how rude it seems. But Ray shares the news that he's running for mayor, and the energy between the brothers and their mother is so sinister. Ray asks about Mea's clients, hinting at the fact that he knows about Zier, and Azalea demands that Mea not represent Zier. And Ray is determined to bury Zier, and we don't even get a why. He doesn't say to protect women, to keep the streets safe, nothing. But he's so passionate about throwing this guy in jail. It's giving obsessed. And having these 3 assholes trying to tell her what to do pushed her to do the very opposite. She doesn't tell them that night, but Mea decides to represent Zier. The next day, Charlize calls to apologize about Azalea and Ray finding out about Zier. Mea asks why she brought him up to them, and Charlize brings up how they act when they're mad and how she can't deal. And plus, Azalea is sick and all that mess, which is very weird because why you letting them run you crazy, girl? Like, what's really going on? Mea tries to act like she's not mad, but of course, she is. But Mea had another visitor that day, her childhood friend, Jimmy, who's come to assist her with this case. Jimmy was an expert private investigator, by the way, and Jimmy could tell that Mea was stressed, so they head out to take a walk. Now, their relationship is strictly platonic, and Jimmy is truly like a brother to her. Jimmy was the one who informed her about Cal's habit before he lost his job and has been following him ever since. He does not play about Mea, and Jimmy had already started trying to track down Heidi's family in Mexico, but either no one has heard of her or they're all scared. While talking to Mea, he notices she doesn't seem sure about Zier and hopes she's taking the case because she believes him and not because she's mad at her in-laws. But Mea insists that she's sure. We see Mea meet with the judge along with Ray to discuss the conflict. Ray tells the judge that Mea has taken the case out of spite, but surprisingly, the judge allows Mea to represent Zier, but warns them both that if things aren't A1, he will disbar them both. We fast forward to Jimmy talking to Zier, trying to get a feel for him. Jimmy brings up a statement made by one of his exes who gives specific details about their time together. Specifically how Zier was very aggressive in bed. Child, these details were pretty spicy too. She said deep was not deep enough for him, and how he would choke her and bite certain body parts. It was pretty wild. But Zier insists that while they were both wild sexually, she was the one who never seemed to get enough. Now, Jimmy was paying close attention to him this whole time, trying to read his body language, and he noticed how Zier smirked as he recounted these details, like it was a fond memory. But Zier claimed he ended it with this particular ex, and she couldn't take it. Mea asked him if he did those same erotic things to Heidi, and he said no, because she wasn't like that, and he stands firm on that and his love for her. From here, Jimmy has asked all his questions and has seen all he needed to see, and by judging Zier's body language, he believes he's telling the truth, and Mea feels the same way. So Jimmy heads to Mexico to do some digging. Mea goes back in the house to speak with Zier before she heads out, and she finds him outside smoking. She warns him that the prosecution could request a random drug test. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past Ray to pull some stuff like that. But Mea also tells Zier that if he plans to go out, he needs to look like he's going through hell, because optics matter. Zier takes this moment to tell Mea that he loved Heidi, that he would never hurt her, and that the ex that made this statement was just a jump off, basically. And Mea insists that Jimmy will get to the bottom of what's going on. A few days later, Jimmy calls Mea to give her an update. The search isn't going so well. There are no families in the area that Heidi's phone signal was linked to, and there are no birth records for anyone with her name, which is weird. Very weird. But Jimmy tells Mea that he will continue to look. We fast forward to Mea asking Zier about Renee Carter, who was the gallery owner from earlier in the film. Zier reveals their history. Renee was basically his sugar mama. She was the first person to take a chance on him and put his paintings up. She took him all around the country, introduced him to all the right people, and as soon as he got on, he left her ass for the next girl. And of course, she was bitter afterwards. Zier tries to get personal by asking Mea could she relate, and Mea immediately draws a line and sets her boundary by asking him to stay on task, and he gains her sympathy by telling her how no one returns his calls anymore. She gives in and tells him that she could relate because she's currently taking care of her husband and his mama. Zier takes this and runs with it. This one little detail was all he needed. So he takes Mea to a canvas and asks her to paint the first color that comes to mind when she thinks of her marriage. She chose blue, so he guided her hand and drew waves. This closeness makes her uncomfortable, so she gets up to go and mentions she needs to catch a train. Zier offers to take her home, but his ass was trying to take her home on a motorcycle. She swiftly called an Uber and headed home. And child, Kyle would have had a fit. A whole tantrum seeing her pull up on a dude's bike. On the train ride home, Mea is thinking of Zier, replaying their conversations, the erotic details that were in his file. She's slowly falling for him, and he's done nothing but flirt. And it was mild flirting at best, and she's already having fantasies about risking it all. She goes home and pulls a Diane by having sex with her husband while wishing it was Zier. Her husband was just happy to get some, child. Anyway, the next day comes to give Mea flowers, and she's not really feeling it. But tell me why Zier walked up behind her, placed his hand on the small of her back, and interrupted their conversation, giving alpha male energy. Listen, and Zier tried to introduce himself to Cal, but Cal wanted no parts and walks away. So Zier asks Mea why she didn't come to his loft, and she tells him that it's better to meet at the office because they can stay focused. And Zier complains about the paparazzi following him and how Mea told him before to avoid that, but coming to the office is doing the opposite of what she told him. Basically, he demands that they meet at his loft since he's not comfortable at the office. As his lawyer, I would have expected her to stand firm, be more assertive, but she just does what he says in the end. Mea doesn't come to Zier's loft that same day. She comes the next day, and Zier tells Mea that he wants to talk about what happened the other night. He admits that he finds her attractive, admits that he loves how she feels, how she smells, her confidence, everything. At this point, baby, it's time to quit. Abort mission. Girl, you got way too much to lose. And it's here where I realized that all his paintings are of women. I haven't seen a tree, grass, a flower, a still life, nothing but women. So maybe Mea was his next muse, a temporary obsession. And besides all that, you are facing life in prison and you trying to flirt. You trying to have sex with the very person who has your life in their hands. Are you serious? It's just not making sense to me. So since Mea wasn't going for it, Zier starts talking about how he can't trust her and needs a new lawyer. She's trying to stay on task and discuss the details of the case. You know, do things that lawyers do, prepare you for trial, and you constantly bringing up feelings. Homeboy, what do you prefer at this point? Sex or freedom? Make a choice. Zier jumps up and decides he wants to go dancing, and Mea warns him about being seen, but Zier doesn't want to hear it. He tells her to pack her stuff up and go because he's about to go do his thing. So once they step off the elevator, Mea turns towards her car and hesitates a little bit. Tell me why this girl makes the split decision to follow him, and he goes down this dark, red-lit staircase, and baby, it was some things going down in this little party. I'm assuming that this is what those Hollywood parties look like, allegedly. Not Tyler showing bitties and titties right now. Not sanctified Tyler. Anyway, the next day, Mea meets with Zier again and he apologizes. Mea tells him she would like to stay professional and that she's only trying to set boundaries. Zier asks why she's setting boundaries and then proceeds to try and kiss her neck. Sir, that's why. But Zier wasn't alone this night. He had company. As Mea leaves out to let them do their thing, and we get a glimpse of his painting. We can see it's Mea's face now. The closer he gets to her, the more the painting comes together. Now, he's getting fellatio from this random as he's watching Mea walk to the elevator. She's trying to leave, but he's not pressing the button so that she can. He's basically forcing her to watch them. He doesn't take his eyes off of her. She doesn't take her eyes off of him. They are both locked in until he finally presses the button so that she can leave. As soon as Mea gets in the car, she gets a call from Jimmy. Jimmy sent Mea a picture of Kyle and that childhood friend of his going into a hotel room together. Now, Mea is hurt. She's angry. And baby, that was all she needed to see to decide on her next move. Mea got out of that car and went right back up to Zier's place. Mind you, his jump off for the night is still there. They are having sex at this point. Listen, I was screaming at my TV like Andre 3000. Reconsider. Don't do it. Think of your career. Child, Mea said F all that. I'm trying to get my lick back. She gets upstairs. Zier tells old girl to bounce. Mind you, there's no condom in sight, no washcloth, no cleaning himself up. He goes to put some pants on and takes Mea on a bike ride. They come back to the house and they get right to it. Again, I didn't see a condom or washcloth. Mea didn't care at all, I guess. Again, in what world? But baby, this sex scene was, I can't even go into detail like I want to, but their skins were skinning. And child, Travonte had motion in the hips. That's all I'm gonna say. He was like, yeah. After they are done, we see the painting in full hanging over the bed. He's officially got her in his web. And the fact that Mea didn't consider the fact that this painting alone could end her career, this dude's apartment has been raided twice. Like, what do you think would happen if they raided it and found this painting? Mea, what happened to those boundaries you once spoke of? Girl, your boundaries thin as notebook paper. Anyway, she even promises to go to the Dominican Republic with him once she gets him off. Girl, stand up. Stand up. Anyway, we fast forward to Mea getting to work to find that Charlize and her husband are there worried sick. Now, Mea could give two shits about her husband being worried, but that changed when Charlize mentions the Winston Hotel and she finds out that everyone was there because Azalea wasn't feeling well and wanted to be close to the hospital. Now she feels terrible about what she did. She goes to Zier's and basically resigns as his lawyer and referred him to a new one. But Zier insists that he won't tell anyone about what happened between them. We go to Mea meeting up with Renee, and Renee still didn't give a damn about these protesters. Renee reads Mea from the moment she sees her, immediately picking up that Mea is involved with Zier. Renee tells Mea about her and Zier's relationship, and things start sounding familiar when Renee brings up how Zier had her paint on a canvas, just like Mea. He started out with the blue waves and the red lines and even hung her portrait above the bed where there were many of the same portraits of different women. After hearing this, Mea goes straight to Zier's, goes right up to his bed and starts taking down each portrait. Mind you, we see him working on a whole other painting. This painting was looking similar to how Mea started off with the blue, but there were 4 other portraits before she got to Heidi's. So my question is, were these ladies after Heidi supposedly died? You going through women like this? Ciao. But Mea is done after seeing this and officially resigns as his lawyer for good. Sometime after, Mea goes to Ray's house with Cal. As soon as they step into the living room, it's very clear that the energy is off. Ray and Azalea are looking at her suspiciously, and Ray tells Cal to stand next to him. Now, Ray already knew that Mea went to the judge to report an inappropriate client relationship, but before he could tell Cal, Mea tells Cal that she needs to tell him something. Now, this monster-in-law interjects again and demands that she tells all of them what's going on. Charlize tries to get everyone to calm down, and Ray tells her to shut up and mind her business. And Azalea starts talking about how Mea doesn't deserve Cal, how he could do better, and Cal tells Mea to just be honest with him. And Mea was like, since you're talking about being honest, I mean, do we really want to go there? And Cal takes a hint and finally confesses to his mom and brother that he lost his job and he was in rehab. And he quickly gets back to the question, asking Mea did she have sex with Zier, and Mea admits that she did. Cal starts throwing tables and Monster-in-Law tells Mea to leave. As she leaves out, Charlize runs after her and hugs her. This would have been a perfect opportunity for Charlize to tell her some things, but her husband demands that she comes inside and tend to the kids, like he's not those same kids' daddy. We fast forward again to Mea being in Guatemala as she's watching the local Chicago news. In Guatemala, we learn that Zier accepted a plea deal and will be eligible for parole. Mea gets a call from Jimmy, who's worried because he hasn't heard from her. Jimmy asks if she's spoken to Cal and insists that she check on him since he saw that he'd been going back to counseling on his own. But Mea didn't want to be bothered with it and tells him she'll check back in later. So later, while Mea's jogging, she runs into Heidi. Yes, Heidi, who was supposed to be dead. The same Heidi whose skull fragments and blood were found all over Zier's place. There's a foot chase here, and Heidi is able to snatch Mea's phone and get away. Mea goes to the police station, and when she's unable to get any help, she calls Charlize to ask her to put Ray on the phone. Of all people. Of all people. She tells Ray that she knows Heidi isn't dead and that Zier is innocent, and Ray wasn't really worried until Mea mentioned that Jimmy was coming to Guatemala to investigate. He told Mea to come back to the States so that he can help her get Zier off, since it will look bad for her to do it on her own since she slept with him. And Mea believed him, took her happy ass to his house by herself without Jimmy. Big mistake. And Charlize greets her, and again, she could have gave her a hint, but okay. Jimmy calls her and tells her that he has something to show her. He sends her an email. She looks at it. She's shocked at the details, but it's here where she notices a red lit room. She goes into the room and finds two portraits of Charlize. It's here where we learn that Charlize slept with Zier too. That's why Ray's been so focused on putting Zier behind bars. Dude is in his feelings about his wife cheating on him. Right when she finds this, Monster-in-Law comes to her acting like she's so weak and needs help. Tell me why she somehow knocks her phone out of her hand and oh so delicately lands her knee on the phone and breaks it. She can't be serious. Yet and still, the energies between Ray and Monster-in-Law are off. Mea's instincts should be screaming at her right now. Ray offers her a drink out the blue and urges her to drink it. Red flag city. Mea was able to send the email Jimmy sent her to Ray about Azalea lying about having cancer. But surprise, surprise, Ray already knows. The only person that doesn't know is Cal's weak ass. Ray starts talking about how he begged Cal not to marry Mea, how he didn't like her. Then Ray gives Charlize a knife to kill Mea, but Charlize tries to stab him at the last minute and he knocks her out. Meanwhile, Mea and Monster-in-Law gets to tussling and she knocks her out. Mea is able to get out the house but gets attacked outside again by Ray. She finally makes it to this random pickup truck, doesn't lock the door, of course, and Ray comes and tries to attack her again along with Monster-in-Law, and Mea drives off. Now, Monster-in-Law was hanging on for dear life on top of this car, but you already know that anytime somebody tries to escape and they hop into the car, for some reason they never make it far. Mea crashes the car into a tree and takes off running down the street. As she's running, she sees a car coming. It happened to be Cal. Now, Cal acted all concerned, called 911, was trying to get details out of her. Everything seemed cool at first until Mea notices that Cal was heading right back to the house. Cal gets another call and he's being real vague. So Mea pressed the Bluetooth button in the car and overhears Ray telling Cal to bring her back to the house. So Cal is in on it too. Cal starts talking about how nobody wanted them to be together, how Ray told him to beat Mea to make her more submissive. He even punches Mea when she starts yelling at him. As he's driving, a semi comes up the road and Mea unhooks his seatbelt and swerves their car into the semi's path. And of course, Cal flies out the car and he dies. From here, Ray goes to jail. We don't know if Charlize makes it or not because she was stabbed by Monster-in-Law once Mea tried to get out the house. Zier is released from prison and even thanks Mea for her help. He tries to reach out to her through text, but Mea doesn't respond. She throws away the phone and lets it all go. And that was the end of the movie. And child, I have questions. Did Zier want Mea from the get-go? Maddie, the bar owner, insisted that she take on his case, and he requested her as well. Zier even wanted her to put her number in his phone when he first met her in the office. And whose skull fragments and DNA was it that was found in Zier's apartment, since it clearly wasn't Heidi's? Did Ray plant that evidence? Did they test the DNA or simply go by his word? Were Heidi and Ray working together to set up Zier from the start? Cause dude was butthurt about his wife sleeping with that man. I don't put it past him to set him up in that way. Why was Zier not concerned about his own freedom? He up here trying to date his lawyer instead of focusing on his freedom. Listen, flirting with your lawyer while you could possibly be spending the rest of your life in prison is crazy. You need your lawyer to be on point and not working from an emotional standpoint. She needs to be focused, okay? Why did we not see Mea actually being a lawyer? We didn't see a courtroom. We didn't see them rehearsing, not a prepping session, nothing. If we were never told she was a lawyer, I wouldn't know what she did for a living. Why didn't Charlize open her damn mouth and give Mea a heads up? That's literally all she had to do. And why they couldn't give us a flashback detailing how Charlize met Zier and how their affair started. That could have brought so much more to this story. Why didn't we get Mea's backstory? There was no foundation to her character. What about her past made her almost submissive to Cal's family, not wanting to rock the boat, even with the blatant disrespect? How you sitting at one end of the table and your husband is sitting next to his mama and childhood best friend that he's having an emotional affair with? Girl, honestly, I could go on, but I won't. I'll just save it for our live session happening Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Central. We'll discuss this film and our thoughts on it. This live will be hosted by Tiffany Bird Harrison, but will appear on both of our channels. Please go over to Tiffany's channel and show her some love because her content is amazing. With that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time, you guys. Bye.